Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's bring you the headlines for the next hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Speaker of Parliament reprimands members of Parliament for disrupting proceedings and defying directive of the First Deputy Speaker to remove the NPP MP for the House from the floor.
Also tonight, Minister of Health reiterates call for nurses to suspend their strike and return to negotiation table.
One eligible candidate writing this year's BECE in the Ashanti region allegedly abandons the exam to engage in illegal mining.
Coming up in business news, Ghana's economy surges by 5.3% in the first quarter, propelled by growth in services and agriculture sectors, as well as rebound of gold.
And on the international front, nearly 50 people killed in South Africa floods.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
We're starting from the House of Parliament because the Speaker of the House has strongly criticized the conduct of some members of Parliament who disrupted proceedings and defied the directive of the First Deputy Speaker for the MP for Ifjasi Asokore to vacate the chamber. Although the Speaker decided against referring what he described as a disrespectful act to the Privileges Committee, he issued a stern admonition urging members of the House to respect the authority of the Speaker.
You recall during proceedings yesterday, the Honourable Member for Ifjasi Asokore, Honourable Dr. Nana Ayew Afriye, signaled his intention to make a statement which he characterized as being of urgent public importance. At the time, the First Deputy Speaker was in the chair and sitting was underway. It bears noting that under the rules and the practice of this House, statements intended to be made on the floor are submitted in advance and previewed by the Speaker. From the information leaders gave me, they had discussed this matter, but the statement got to the First Deputy Speaker whilst he was seated at his seat in the chamber. And whilst he was trying to read it, I called upon him to take over the chair. So he did not actually go through it, and he did not admit it. So the statement was not admitted. Accordingly, no such statement could lawfully be made on the floor. But I will just say this, that Shakespeare taught all of us that even a dog is obeyed in office. When we sit here, we are not saints, we are not infallible, but there is good reason why we are called Right Honorable, and you are called only Honorable. I want honorable members to take this in good faith. I know in the light of these events and in defense of the institutional integrity of Parliament, I refer to the conduct of the honorable member for Ifjasi Asokore. This is not a matter to be referred to any committee. It's a matter that I've discussed with leadership, and we've agreed that it should be resolved. And we will resolve it here openly for all of us to be guided so that in future we don't fall foul to these rules.
Well, let's connect now to Zoom and speak to the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Draman. Doc, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin.
My first question actually would be, up until when would we see some, decisive action taken when we see such dishonorable acts from supposed members of Parliament or honorable members of Parliament?
Well, I guess that's a very interesting question, perhaps that we might have to put to the Right Honourable Speaker and the leadership of Parliament. I mean, certainly a lot of Ghanaians are expecting, such behaviors not to go unpunished. In the wisdom of the Right Honourable Speaker, he decided, not to punish the honourable member and all those who were involved yesterday in that conduct. I don't know what guided that, but I think we are seeing more and more of such conducts. I believe mainly because no sanctions have been, seriously meted out. If you remember, during the first meeting, when there was misconduct in the process of vetting ministerial nominees, the Right Honourable Speaker suspended some members of Parliament. There was pleading, there was some negotiation, and finally, those suspensions were suspended. So, yes, a very good question. I believe that we should put those questions to the leadership of Parliament. Because just today, at a program in Parliament, I had the opportunity of reminding members of Parliament about how trust levels are going down, particularly when it comes to institutions that we have put in place. Institutions like Parliament to lead us. Ghanaians and across many countries on the continent do not trust these institutions. And I think it's behaviors like this that reinforce that lack of trust, in addition to all the challenges that people are facing on a daily basis, that they look up to an institution like Parliament to come to their aid, to solve our water problems, to solve our health problems, to solve our education problems. People don't have those solutions. And then what we see daily when you bring Parliament to our living rooms is, conducts that sometimes are not honorable.
Doc, so what then happens to regular Ghanaians like you and I if we say things that fall foul of the law, or people who are expected to know better when it comes to lawmaking, when we see them break the law or disrespect the law in these ways? Would they have any moral authority or right to question us or, invite us to the Privileges Committee, for instance, if they assume or presume that we've done something untoward against the law?
Well, maybe we might get to a point, Martin, very soon when people might start making reference to this when they are accused of falling foul to the law. Most recently, we saw during the vetting of ministerial nominees, a citizen of this country made some allegations against the members of the committee, and he went there and simply just apologized, and they let him go. Perhaps this is against the backdrop of the fact that maybe they themselves are realizing that if they push this matter very hard, people are going to begin to ask questions about their own conduct. And I think, honestly, you know, for me, Martin, when I saw what happened yesterday, you know, I got a bit worried, particularly when the Right Honourable First Deputy Speaker was walking out of the chamber, and then there were some kind of, noises that we heard, almost similar to people hooting at him. And I thought that was, stretching the matter and showing a lot of disrespect to the chair. And like the Right Honourable Speaker said today, I think is the office that should be respected, not just necessarily. I mean, somebody can be there, you might not like the person, and he makes a ruling or he takes a decision. Whatever it is, everybody has to fall in line. And if you disagree, there are procedures for registering your disagreement.
Right.
But I think here we are. But Martin, on a much general note, if you allow me, I've been thinking, you know, about whether, you know, this whole idea of, you know, urgent statements have to be admitted and taken through processes and so on. I mean, I know that's the rule right now. Perhaps we are getting to a point where, you know, some freedom should be given to our honorable members to have some kind of, to take initiative. Right. So that on matters like this, I mean, crisis situation, I think, I mean, the rules should be relaxed in such a way that the honorable members who wish to make statements are given the space to do so. And I think that perhaps maybe the leadership might have to look at the rules and begin to think about this.
Right. Dr. Rashid Rahman, thank you for your time this evening. He's the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs.
Meanwhile, leadership of the minority and majority in Parliament have added their collective voice to the call by the Speaker of Parliament for members to uphold the sanctity of the House. Both leaders respectively called on members to be tolerant and adhere to the rules.
We've already assured you at conclave that you will have our cooperation in ensuring that there is order to guide our proceedings and to help uphold the integrity of this House. Mr. Speaker, moving to resolve problems of this House is a continuous process. And without belaboring the point, I reiterate to you my assurances at conclave that we will assist the chair, particularly now that you are so overwhelmed with some other administrative duties and other commitments that your two deputies would be with us most of the time. We believe that we will extend that courtesy to them. They are the first among their equals, our primaries. Though they are members of this House, their position is guaranteed by the Constitution. So we agree that we need to accord them that courtesy.
We should all take time to study the rules. We should all take our time to study the rules. My brother Honorable Muntaka is here. My brother Eric Opoku is here. Haruna just left. Even after 20 years in this chamber, every single morning or afternoon I enter the chamber, I still take the rules to check before I make any move. Even when my backbench or my colleagues are trying to do something, I know I would have to defend them. So I'm quickly glancing through the rules. Sometimes when you see me looking at my phone, I have made an electronic copy of it, and so I'm busy looking at it to make sure that if somebody is faltering, I can check them and draw their attention that, no, that's not what the rules say. I think the problem is that we are not investing in the rules. If we invest in the rules, many of the issues that we are confronted with in this chamber will not arise.
Now, lawyers of the NDC parliamentary candidate for Akwetia, Henry Boakye-Yadom, says they will pursue a criminal case against the Akwetia Member of Parliament, Ernest Yakumi, for presenting a forged gazette. Earlier, the Supreme Court overturned the contempt conviction against the Akwetia Member of Parliament and further prohibited the Koforidua High Court Judge Emmanuel Amedahe from sentencing Ernest Kumi. Lord Edwasare reports.
Former National Signals Bureau Director Kwabena Edubuahin, his spouse Angela J. Boateng, their associates Mildred Donko and one other have all pleaded not guilty of multiple offences including stealing, causing financial loss to the state, and money laundering of over 49 million Ghana cedis in state funds. The accused persons are all on separate bail conditions. During a case management conference on Wednesday, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shemsai presented 85 documents which he indicated include orders freezing the vehicles of the accused persons, bank accounts, charge and caution statements, invoice for cash transfers, among others. The Deputy Attorney General also told the court that the former National Signals Bureau Director fails to declare his assets as required by law. He stated that the documents are part of the evidence, both exculpatory and inculpatory, that ought to be disclosed. Lead counsel for the accused persons, Samuel Atachia, described the disclosures as mountainous. Presiding Judge Nyadu Nyante ordered the defense lawyers to file their witness statements and other relevant documents which should be relied on for their defense. Samuel Atachia spoke to the media after proceedings.
It's not how much you file, but the quality of what you file. And whether what you file will incriminate the accused persons, that's what is critical. You can file to all manner of documents. And whether they are incriminatory in nature, is what the court will have to assess.
The case has since been adjourned to June 26 for continuation of the case management conference. Lord Edwasare, TV3 News, Accra.
So pardon us for bringing you the story. So the lead for that story actually has to do with the fact that lawyers for the former National Signals Bureau Director, his wife and two others, Samuel Atachia, has noted that he is unperturbed by the voluminous nature of disclosures filed by the Attorney General in the criminal case against his client. And that's the story you just watched about the Signals Bureau chief who is still standing trial over some allegations leveled against him by the state.
In more news tonight, the Minister of Health, Kwabena Kando, has urged the striking nurses to suspend their industrial action and return to the negotiation table to discuss strategies for implementing their demands. The minister on Wednesday engaged 4 nursing associations opposed to the ongoing strike on their conditions of service. Here's a report by Stanley Niblu.
The industrial action by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has intensified following the withdrawal of outpatient department and ward services. On Wednesday, the leadership of 4 nursing associations, namely the Union of Professional Nurses and Midwives Ghana, the Professional Association of Psychiatric Nurses Ghana, the National Association of Registered Midwives, and the Ghana Registered Midwives Association, returned to the negotiation table to discuss their conditions of service. Health Minister Kwabena Kando addressed the media after a closed-door meeting. He appealed to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association to call off its strike and resume discussions on the implementation of their demands.
To exhibit good faith, we still call on them to call off the strike, and then let's all come around the table for further discussion. We don't want a situation where when you call for a meeting for engagement, they will send people who cannot take decisions. And they come, they say, oh, our president is not here, our general secretary is not here, so we are going to consult them and come back. When other high-ranking government officials are also around the table.
President of the Union of Professional Nurses and Midwives Ghana, Maxwell Odro Yeboah, on behalf of the 4 associations, reaffirmed their demands but expressed satisfaction with the government's approach to resolving their issues.
Most of the things that we have in there are already being implemented with the exception of a few. The PIN renewal, which has become a major issue, he's assured us he's dealing with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, and hopefully they will find a solution to it. So nurses are not supposed to pay for any PIN renewal as it stands now. And that is positive for us. And so we want to appeal to our people who are out there. The minister has been cooperative. The minister has been very, very frank and open with us on the situation. The story out there about the ministry saying they are not interested in the implementation until 2026, he has assured us that's not the case.
He also echoed the minister's call for the striking nurses to suspend their action and return to the negotiation table.
We would still want to use this medium to appeal to the striking nurses and midwives that we are making progress. Staying at home, if we get everything that we want after staying at home, the patients we've lost, what happens? We can bring them back to life, and I have maintained that.
In a related development, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says it is ready to address the concerns of striking nurses and midwives within 3 days if they agree to return to the negotiation table. Speaking exclusively to our Labour correspondent, Daniel Opoku, the Commission's Chief Executive, Dr. George Smith-Graham, appealed to the health workers to call off their strike and engage in a dialogue.
The ongoing strike by the over 128,000 nurses and midwives across the country has taken a devastating toll on healthcare delivery. Several patients have reportedly lost their lives, while many others are struggling to access critical care in the absence of frontline health workers. Despite multiple rounds of negotiations between the government and the leadership of striking health professionals, no agreement has been reached so far. In a desperate bid to contain the crisis, the government has appealed to retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services. However, this move has sparked discontent and frustration among some retirees who feel sidelined and disrespected. Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Dr. George Smith-Graham, has expressed concern over the ongoing industrial action.
And it is a payment of arrears that has destabilized the implementation of the single payment from the beginning up to date. And so we have at the back of our mind avoiding this payment of arrears. But this has happened. Although it has happened because the negotiation between us and the registered nurses. If in negotiation there are any challenges with implementation, each party can call the other and sit down with them and discuss. And that is what we have activated.
He is urging the nurses and midwives to return to the negotiation table, assuring them that their grievances could be resolved within 3 days if they do so.
This morning she asked me, so what are we going to do? And I had, I told her, okay, so if they write a letter to us, can we call for a meeting immediately? I said, yes, even as early as tomorrow. Okay. I'll call, so I'm waiting for them. They are ready to, we are ready to engage them.
The meeting is done tomorrow. Hopefully by close of this, you would have resolved the problem.
Oh, definitely. They should come for us to talk. Yes, they should come for us to talk. If there's anything that can be discussed, I mean, I don't see what we cannot discuss.
Dr. George Smith-Graham further indicated that full implementation of their conditions of service by 2026 could significantly improve their welfare.
Because if we had implemented it earlier, inflation, the 54% inflation and high CD depreciation would have taken over all their benefits. But now, if we implement it, they are now going to see the gains of what they negotiated for. If it had been done previously, I mean, inflation and that would have eroded everything.
So now you are waiting for them to come to the table.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, as government efforts to end the strike intensify, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana, CLOGSAC, has publicly declared its support for the striking nurses and midwives.
And away from the Labour front, one eligible candidate writing this year's basic education certificate exams at the Duapompo MA Junior High School in the Dwabi municipality of the Ashanti region has allegedly abandoned the exam to engage in illegal mining. The municipal chief executive, Eunice Ohenewa Ansu, says she will investigate the matter. A report by William Evans Nkum.
The menace of illegal mining is growing at an alarming rate. This is the second disturbing report about a student who has jettisoned the classroom for illegal mining. At the Duapompo MAGHS, one of the eligible BECE candidates abandoned the examination for illegal mining, also known as galamsey. A teacher at the school disclosed this to the news team. According to the teacher, the candidate, Prince Owusu, told him he was going to look for money. Municipal Education Director of Dwabi, Phyllis Boateng, confirmed the candidate's absence.
He registered, but after that, he traveled from the town. He stopped coming to school.
MC for Dwabi, Eunice Ohenewa Ansu, said the matter will be investigated.
Yet to find out, because the headmaster was also going around. So when we get to the office, we was called to find out.
In May, a similar story was told from Intinanko, a community in the BECE municipality, where about 40 children have abandoned the classroom for the pit. A total of 1,465 eligible candidates from 9 private and 34 public schools are currently writing the BECE. 757 of the candidates are males, with 708 females. Prince Owusu, however, failed to sit for the BECE.
A related development, the Education Minister Haruna Idriso has issued a stern warning to basic education certificate examination candidates, urging them to resist examination malpractice and any action that could tarnish their reputation or that of their schools. He noted that any such behavior will not be countenanced in this year's BECE.
Has been touring the Bono East region to offer words of encouragement to students as they commence their BECE, emphasizes zero-tolerance policy for examination malpractice. He further urged WAEC to be diligent with their timing.
There must be zero tolerance for exam malpractices across the country. And these young children represent the future and wealth of our country, and they need to grow with integrity. Let no one of them be associated with any exam malpractice. We also would want to encourage the West Africa Examination Council to be very timely with the delivery of exam papers and other logistics.
During the tour, the minister acknowledged significant deficiencies that require urgent government attention, pledging that government would address these issues appropriately.
This morning's visit have exposed us to what government must urgently be looking at. One, the lighting system in the classroom, not good enough. And then the state of furniture in some of the schools, indeed in most of the schools, is in very deplorable state. Government will respond appropriately and timely to this request.
The regional minister, Francis Owusu-Enchi, expressed confidence in the students' preparedness towards the exams. He also seized the opportunity to hammer on the minister's zero-tolerance exam malpractice policy in the region.
In more news tonight, President John Mahama has directed the restoration of parent-teacher associations in the administration of schools, especially at the secondary level. The PTAs have in recent past been excluded from the administration of schools, leading to protests from teachers. The president says the reform proposals in the education sector are sweeping and will be fully implemented.
Of the Ghana National Association of Teachers on Wednesday paid a courtesy call on the president of the Jubilee House. With a fund portfolio of 4 billion cedis ownership of Avian's cargo and other investment, the teachers said partnership with government was key to their growth and development. Consultant and renowned economist Kwame Pianim says the posturing of the president in his resetting agenda showed a shared determination to live in a legacy for successive government.
Here, we tend to underpay our teachers, but with you as a listening president, and I was happy when they were coming, they said, well, let's go and talk to the president. I say, with this president, if he tells you he's going to do something, he will do it. Somebody told them he was going to give them 10,000 houses. They got 0. And Mr. President, that's what I've told you before. Of the 35, 36 million Ghanaians alive, but the only one who can reset Ghana for us.
At the commencement of his administration, the president set to review the free SHS and commit sweet reforms. 4 months down the line, government is commencing with some radical approaches.
The trend everywhere in the world is to give communities a say in how their schools are run. And that's why I felt very scandalized when PTAs were virtually shoved aside and not allowed to be a part of the running of our schools, especially at the secondary level. And so I believe that PTA participation must be fully restored so that they work with teachers and the administration of the schools to make sure that the schools are run properly and that our children are getting a good outcome in terms of...
So in about 29 minutes from now, we are going to be already watching Trapped in War, which will be premiering tonight at 9 p.m. And award-winning journalist Godwin Asiedu-Dartey takes us to Ukraine, focusing on young Ghanaian men who were misled into joining the Russian-Ukraine conflict. Some have returned home with life-threatening injuries. Others remain missing, and grieving families are left behind demanding answers. The full documentary will be happening tonight. Here are excerpts of what we should expect tonight.
Another day in Ukraine, a place where fear is felt in every corner, where the sound of gunfire is a daily reminder of a war that never seems to end. But for some Ghanaian men, this is not just a battlefield. This is a nightmare they cannot wake up from.
We need help, and at the same time, we have other four-blooders that still, 2 weeks this, we are not being hearing from them.
You can remember that 14 young men left Ghana in 2024, tricked into believing they were coming to Russia for well-paying jobs. Instead, they were sent here to the front lines of one of the deadliest conflicts in the world.
I don't know if this morning, me say I should go next or someone should go next. So our lives are in danger here seriously today. We beg you.
You do want to make a date at 9 p.m. on TV3. This is still News 360. Stay with us. Menua Full is on standby to bring us business.
yen. Touch concentrated perfume.
Time now for business news, and Menu Afol is with us. Hello, Menu.
Hi, Martin.
What should we be expecting?
Well, Ghana's economy has seen some significant growth in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Ghana's Statistical Service has given us some figures and has also told us what's accounting for that rapid growth we are seeing. So we have details of that and more.
All right, let's get into it.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the business segment on News360. I am Menu Afol. Now, Ghana's economy experienced its most rapid expansion since the third quarter of last year, growing by an annual rate of 5.3% in the first quarter of 2025. The gross domestic product expansion was propelled by growth in the services and agriculture sectors, as well as a rebound of gold.
In the first quarter of 2025, agriculture grew by 6.6%, services by 5.9%, and industry by 3.3%. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu noted the rebound in cocoa and gold production played a crucial role in driving Ghana's economic growth surge in the first quarter of the year, signaling a positive trajectory for the nation's key export commodities.
The cocoa sector, which is a subsector under crops, expanding by 3.4%. Gold grew by 5.6% compared to the previous quarter contraction of 2.2%. The growth in the services sector was dominated by a number of subsectors, including information and communication.
Reacting to the first quarter of 2025 gross domestic growth figures, Head of Finance at Melbourne Capital, Nelson Kujo-Kwagbeji, observed the quarter one rate positions budget in achieving its year-end GDP growth rate of 4.4%.
The economy is responding positively to the gains that we have made as a country. Inflation has moderated to 18.4% as at the end of May 2025. We have also enjoyed relative stability of the Ghanaian cedi, and also government-owned fiscal and monetary policy has also contributed significantly towards the growth that we have enjoyed.
The government statistician urged government to pay attention to the mining sector.
Mining and quarrying grew modestly by 1.4%, as the data showed. And we saw that the bulk of the reason why we didn't see good performance in this subsector was because of the big drag from oil and gas, which declined by 22.1%. But gold was doing well. So scaling up gold board activities could stabilize earnings and broaden impact beyond just extraction, but rather add value.
In more news tonight, the Bank of Ghana says more small businesses in the country can now get loans without needing to own land or buildings through its improved collateral registry. Speaking at an event to mark 15 years since the registry was set up, the first Deputy Governor, Dr. Zakari Mumuni, said the system has helped banks and lenders know who owns what, making it easier and safer to give out loans.
Delivering a speech on behalf of Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama, Dr. Mumuni Zakari said the registry is opening doors for small business owners who used to be left out, allowing them to use things like stock and business tools to apply for loans.
The collateral has expanded the frontier of financial inclusion. Micro, small, medium-sized enterprises who often lack traditional forms of collateral can now use movable access like stock, receivables, and tools of trade to secure credit.
Head of the Collateral Registry Department, Fred Esiama Kranton, said the platform has evolved into a critical part of Ghana's financial infrastructure, boosting trust and transparency in lending.
I am pleased to report that there has been a significant increase in the registration of security interests on the registry's platform.
Senior Country Manager for the International Finance Corporation, IFC, Karl Kalhofer, called for a collaborative effort with the Central Bank as well as the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO, to ensure international best practices.
Have worked to develop a legal and regulatory framework that's enabled movable property for collateral for loans and for the deployment of a modern digital collateral registry system that is a flagship, not just in Africa, but around the world, to promote best practices for secure transactions.
And now one of Ghana's leading banks, Societe Generale Ghana, has posted its strongest performance in over a decade, recording a 30% increase in profit for the 2024 financial year. At its annual general meeting, the bank announced its highest dividend payout since 2013, a move aimed at reinforcing investor confidence.
Societe Generale Ghana has recorded a robust performance in 2024 financial year, posting a 30% increase in profit and declaring its highest dividend payout in over a decade. The announcement was made at the bank's annual general meeting, where shareholders were briefed on key milestones and the institution's forward-looking strategy. The bank's managing director, Uzani Hakim, noted that both the asset side and the net banking income saw significant growth.
When you calculate the yield compared to the price of the share, we are around 23% yield, which is a very good profit or yield per share. So we hope that with this we are also strengthening the trust of our shareholders and the trust that they have with us.
With the loan-to-deposit ratio exceeding 90%, Societe Generale Ghana demonstrated its commitment to supporting the national economy.
90% of the deposits are going directly to finance individuals, to finance SMEs, to finance corporates, to finance public projects, private projects, through our solutions, financing solutions.
The bank reaffirmed the strategic focus on small and medium-sized enterprises, unveiling initiatives such as its Home of Business as part of the bank's corporate social responsibility and business strategy.
We have launched during the 2024 years the SG Women product, which is dedicated for women entrepreneurs particularly, and it's under our business strategy and under also our corporate social responsibility strategies.
In line with global trends, Societe Generale Ghana says it is also scaling up green financing efforts and enhancing its digital platforms to offer customers more sustainable and accessible banking services.
It's time now to take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. And that's it for Business Tonight here on News 360. I am Menu Afo. Please stay with us. We'll be back with sports.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. Ghana winger Christopher Bonsuba has praised Black Star skipper Jordan Ayew for assisting him to adjust to the senior national team when he gained his maiden call-up with the team back in March. Bonsuba joined the team during the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Chad and Madagascar, but did not feature in any game until the Unity Cup in May, where he played his first national team game and impressed as well. According to the 20-year-old, he regained his confidence after seeking advice from Ayew.
I think Thomas Partey and Jordan. Yeah, because I really wanted to see them, so I was just, even in training, I was just watching them and I was like, wow, it's a dream come true there to just play with them, because you have been hearing their names everywhere. You grew up watching Thomas Partey and Jordan and the rest. Before our game against Chad in Accra, I went to Jordan's room to have a little advice and ask him how should I play or how. So I think he's very, very friendly, very, very good guy, because they don't show, they just open up and express their feelings and make you feel okay, you are part of the team, just enjoy the moment. Yeah.
From football, let's do some boxing, where the Bukom Boxing Arena is set to host a number of boxing bouts on Friday, June 13, as part of Legacy Rise Sports Battle of the Beast initiative. Now, as part of preparations for the event, a press conference was held on Wednesday, and CEO of Legacy Rise Sports, Sharaf Mahama, expressed his satisfaction while urging Ghanaians to support the movement.
Amir Khan Promotions, through collaborating with them, they took a huge step to collaborate with us to make this event happen. So a big thank you to Amir Khan and the team. At Legacy Rise Sports, the aim is to bring global exposure to Ghanaian boxing and, enhance African boxing as well. And for all the international fighters and coaches that have come today, I want to say a big thank you for, It's a huge risk when you hear you're having a fight in Africa, So I want to thank you guys for taking this opportunity to come. And we have a huge event June 13th on Friday. We have a lot of 50-50 fights that I'm looking forward to, including this one right here. And we have a lot of entertaining performances. And so I urge the fans to come out early and, grab a seat and enjoy the boxing.
Let's just touch base with the upcoming FIFA Club World Cup, as the stage is set and anticipation is building to the competition. Remember, it's revamped from the previous editions, and so the winners can earn up to $125 million, and that's because there'll be 32 teams competing in age groups of 4 teams per group, playing in a single game round-robin format. The top 2 teams per group progress to the round of 16 stage of the competition, and that's just the breakdown of the various regions and how many representations that they would have from each region. For CAF, that's Africa, there's 4. AFC in Asia has 4 as well. In UEFA in Europe, there's 12. Caribbean for the CONCACAF have 4, and then there's the South America with 6, OFC with 1, and then the host country with 1. That slot goes to Inter Miami. A total of 12 venues will be used to host the 63 matches, which will be placed across the United States of America. We'll be bringing you more updates as we build up to the revamped FIFA World Cup that would be taking place in the United States. My name is Oreku Ampofo. You can get some more sports updates on our social media handles at 3SportsGH.
Entertainment.
Tonight in this segment, female directors have made significant contributions to the world of cinema, yet they remain underrepresented in the industry. Tonight, we put the spotlight on one of Ghana's top female movie filmmakers who has over the years helped to reshape the industry, bringing fresh perspectives, compelling storytelling and bold creativity to the screen. That's Shirley Frimpong-Manso. Also, Warai has the details.
Lulu. I changed the locks, Tony.
Shirley Frimpong-Manso is a formidable force in the Ghanaian film industry, known for her versatility and groundbreaking contributions to the industry. She made her directorial debut with Perfect Picture in 2009, a critically acclaimed film that resonated with audiences on a profound level. Shirley further solidified her status with films like A Sting in a Tail, 2009, Checkmate, 2010, Adam's Apple, 2011, and Potomanto in 2012. Other notable works such as Devil in the Detail, Love or Something Like That, Potato Potato, and The Perfect Picture 10 years later showcased her storytelling depth and visual brilliance. The acclaimed filmmaker told 3 Entertainment passion for the work keeps her going.
I think like a lot of the other producers out there, it really comes down to passion. This work is not about thinking, too much about what you're going to make out of it. It's a calling, and that's what keeps me going.
Her passion for telling relatable Ghanaian stories and projecting the rich Ghanaian culture has solidified her status as a leading force in the industry.
I love my country. I love Ghana. When I make a film, I project the country, our resorts and things. I use Ghanaian music. I work with Ghanaian musicians so that, you can hear Ghanaian music in it. We speak the Ghanaian language. I work with the Chi actors as well as the English actors, the Akrobatos, the Gloria Safos, the Jocelyn Dumas, and stuff like that. So, for me, it's a huge thing. And we've been to festivals where people have said, oh my God, so this is Ghana and not Guyana.
As a strong advocate for female representation, the renowned filmmaker has used her platform to mentor and uplift women in the industry.
You're passionate about, profiling the Ghanaian young woman and being able to impact, some knowledge and some ideals, of being a good woman for the society. These are the things that drive you.
She emphasized the urgent need for structural changes in the industry.
This is a medium that I want to use to contribute my quota to the development of my country. And I'm hoping that the leaders of our country can see it too and be able to help us make it bigger.
And big ups to Shirley Frimpong-Manso for doing such a woman's job. Time now for international news.
At least 49 people, including several school children, have been killed in the floods that have swept through South Africa's Eastern Cape province as torrential rain and snow have hit parts of the country. The numbers are just escalating hour after hour. The situation is so bad on the ground, Provincial Premier Oscar Mabuyani said. Among the bodies recovered are those of 4 children, a driver and a conductor who were on a bus that was carried away in floodwaters as it was crossing a bridge in the town of Mtata on Tuesday morning. Mabuyani said rescue efforts were continuing to find 4 more children who had been in the vehicle that has since been found on a riverbank with no one inside. Talks aimed at cooling tensions between the US and China have ended in a deal, according to US President Donald Trump. He said China had agreed to supply US companies with magnets and rare earth metals, while the US would walk back its threats to revoke visas of Chinese students.
And that's it for our package. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia Gabor. Do join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.
Oh, and at 9, there is also that documentary you should look forward to, Trapped in War by Godwin Asedeba, 9 p.m. on TV3. Bye for now.